them, and then they went, there might be something to this. So I got off track there. But anyway, uh, it was just one of the things that even though we did that no-sode years ago, it still works. And we had an instance when Glenn Dupree was still alive, and a friend of ours was managing a quarter horse ranch up in Northern California that is part of Pirelli. And they would get 25 to 50 to 75 cases of pigeon fever a year. So the manager knew us. She called and said, "Is there any way you guys can help?" So Glenn and I put our heads together. Yep, we can do it. We'll send it to you. We're not going to charge you because we want to make sure this is still working. So we sent it up, and that year, because pigeon fever comes typically in late summer and fall more than any other time. We started treating their water, I think it was in April or May. And out of a herd of a couple hundred horses, they only had one case of pigeon fever. And that was a horse that had had it really bad the year before. So no-sodes will also flush out past disease. So the next year they had no cases of pigeon fever. And then Jeannie left as manager and I didn't hear from him for a little while. And then one day I get a phone call. You know that stuff Jeannie used? Can you send us some more? I go, why? What happened? We got pigeon fever again. So I said, yeah, I can send it to you, no problem. But anyway, no-sodes can be made up of things for like EPM, pigeon fever, Lyme disease, all kinds of other things, but they can also be made up for an individual animal and any specific thing that might be going on or condition. I had a mare at one time that I absolutely loved, and she became obsessed with eating acorns one year. And she got acorn poisoning, and they die from that pretty much. And it was a year out here that we were getting ready for a drought, and the oak trees will just release all kinds of acorns. And there were, I think, 20 horses my vet was treating for the same thing. And I sent acorns and I sent the leaves from the acorn tree or from the oak tree, and then some like little twigs and things. And we made up a no-sode for her out of what I knew she had been eating, which we had to get her away from. And Dr. Wessner had that made into a no-sode for me. And we gave it to her. And out of all the horses, there was only her and one other horse that lived that year that had the acorn poisoning.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah. But anyway, so no-sodes are made from pathogenic type things where a traditional homeopathic remedy is derived from natural, non-pathogenic sources. So, and they can treat, the regular remedies. Yeah, we treat other things too. We can treat physical things like an injury with arnica, let's say. We can treat mental and emotional things like if a horse is really in grief because their stablemate died or somebody moved their buddy someplace else. But anyway, we have to look at both of that and look at the horse and look at the circumstances to really decide what's going on and not just start treating. Anyway, how do no-sodes vary from vaccines? Well, no-sodes lack the presence of the active biological material and instead relies on the energetic imprints. Unlike vaccines, which then stimulate a measurable response, meaning it produces antibodies, where no-sodes work on a holistic principle of rebalancing the body's energy. And actually, a lot of my clients who don't want to do vaccines anymore, they start using the no-sodes, and the no-sodes do support past vaccination. And it keeps the immune system, on alert, let's say, for those things that might be coming, let's say rhino or something. But anyway, the goal of using no-sodes is to help the body recognize and build the energetic immunity against a specific disease like EPM, like flu rhino, like Lyme, or even pigeon fever. Um, what I have some of my customers do is if they're in an area with a high population of possums, I have them get the Lyme nosode not only for their, or not Lyme, sorry, EPM nosode for not only their horse, but get extra. And we put it in water and put it out away from the barn where the possums may be. And then we're treating the possums as well. And
And like,
hopefully, preventing some horses from getting EPM, which is horrible.
mhm.
If anybody's had an EPM horse, I've had one. And unfortunately, my horse got it from a load of hay out of Colorado.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah, it was organic hay and we tracked it back and I called the grower and said, "Do you have possums?" "Oh yeah, we got lots of possums." "Oh great." So anyway, but she taught me a lot so I can help others too.
Yeah.
But anyway, let's see, get back to this. When treating a specific illness or disease, nosodes that are derived from the pathogen or tissue are prescribed to address that infection or illness. Like, let's say your horse has had Potomac fever or maybe is current on Potomac fever. We treat them differently than the regular protocol for a nosode. I have a client up in Canada whose horse had Potomac fever and she never got over the symptoms, even though she wasn't testing for it anymore. And what we did was we took the Potomac nosode and we treated her once a day for 2 weeks, and she cleared all of the disease stuff that had lingered as an imprint in her body. So you can do it that way too. But nosodes can also be used to, treat unresolved health issues. Some of them may be from past illness or vaccination, which is called vaccinosis. That includes anything in horses, dogs, or cat. They may, show you some lingering things. And one of the things I found really fascinating was that when foals are born, even though they have not been vaccinated, some of them will show signs of vaccinosis, which is usually runny eyes, runny nose, where people think immediately it's an allergy, when it's usually the dam and the sire who have been over vaccinated in their lifetime, and they pass it along to the foal.
Oh, wow.
So we will treat that
Yeah,
foal.
wow.
Yeah, we'll treat that foal with thuja, which is a remedy, which helps to clear some of the vaccinosis.
Well, it makes sense because of all the vaccines they require
Yeah,
mares to have. So yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
yeah, and we've treated quite a few. Same thing with dogs. I mean, the breeders, will just vaccinate the crap
Mhm.
out of the mom dog, especially, and then they want to start vaccinating these puppies whose immune system can't even retain what they've been vaccinated for. And then you'll see those dogs too. I mean, I see it a lot of times on poodles or little white dogs where they have the red runny eyes and it just stains their fur. And a lot of times that's over vaccination of the parents and then continuing on with the puppies too.
Oh, wow. Did
Yeah.
not know that.
Yep.
Um,
Same.
wow. Yeah, that's wild. And hey, Jessica, are you okay if we have some questions pop in? Do you want to wait till the
Absolutely.
end or okay?
Oh, absolutely. No.
Okay, so Michelle says, I have a 13-year-old gelding that has chronic thrush, and two separate blood tests have shown his liver enzymes are high. I was wondering if you had suggestions around how to treat him for
Well,
that.
is, well, I've got a couple, but anyway, usually thrush or abscesses, white line, that kind of stuff is usually lack of copper and zinc. So it's not something we necessarily would treat with a homeopathic remedy, but it's usually lacking in the diet. And we see that a lot too with horses who are pre-Cushing's. So I don't
Mhm.
know, that horse has been treated for pre-Cushing's or not, or been tested.
So he
Mm.
is on a copper and zinc. I know this gelding, so I'm going to pop in
Okay.
for Michelle.
Which one though? Because I'm finding that the Mad Barn copper and zinc is not working.
Michelle, can we unmute you and you'll chime in? Because I'm not sure.
There.
I'm trying to think, who did I buy the copper zinc for? Hold on, I'll go get the bag.
It is an amino acid.
Yeah.
I don't remember where you got it, but I also know she did test for insulin, did her ACTH, everything came back.
Fine.
Oh, mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah, IR is an interesting thing too, but
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you know what IR is really coming from? And there's a vet in Texas who I've now lost track of, can't remember the name of. It's a digestive issue or lack thereof.
Yeah.
Mhm. Yep.
Acidity in the hindgut too. They're
Yep.
linking a lot of it too. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So, but
Well,
anyway,
I'm sorry.
yeah, the thrush and stuff is usually a sign of a lack of copper and zinc, which a lot of horses have. And the one thing I test my hay, but people don't think about testing their water.
Yeah.
How do you know what your horse is really getting? Because if you're not looking at your water, because I'm on a well and a lot of people are on wells, how do you know what the iron content is? Because if the iron's high in your hay and in your water, your horse can't absorb the zinc and the copper.
Mhm.
Mhm.
When then it sets off and triggers things like, externally is when a horse will start showing us there's an imbalance in the body. Thrush is one of them. Skin irritations are another. Also,
Mhm.
digestive health is number one. Is Michelle back? No.
I am.
Oh, there you
I
are.
was chatting.
Oh, so what brand is that? Do we know?
Custom equine nutrition.
From,
Oh God.
okay, parts.
Vermont.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I know about them. Yeah, and it might not be quite the right one for your horse, or your horse is not absorbing it for some reason.
Is there a better one?
There's a lot of them out there. I mean, I'm not here to sell you guys anything, but one of the products that I do sell from Horse Tech is called Arizona Copper Complete, and it's not just for Arizona. But they don't want to change the name, and a barefoot trimmer designed it with Rod from Horse Tech 20 something years ago, because she kept seeing white lines, she kept seeing, thrush, she kept seeing abscesses, going, what the heck is going on? So they went about all over the place testing hay and testing well water and stuff to find out it was copper and zinc. So they came up with a formula. She wouldn't let anybody else sell it. And then when she retired, she finally let all of us start selling it. But it's got other things in it too. I mean, it's got methionine, threonine. I think there's vitamin E, vitamin C, and things that need to, balance out on the horse as well. But I mean, Mad Barn's got one, and a couple people recently have said, hey, this isn't working. But with the tariffs now, I've got quite a few people up in Canada, they can't afford the exchange rate or the tariffs, and we've done the best we can with their horses, and I have sent them to Mad Barn.
We're all big proponents of Horse Tech. We've all used it for a long time.
Oh
And
yeah, I love
Taylor,
it.
they're so easy to, wonderful to deal with. Nicole has more experience there, but yeah.
Yeah, no, they're great. I mean, Rod is just salt of the earth, and they're part of the National Animal Supplement Council as well. And it's funny because Bill Bookout, who started that, was my neighbor in Valley Center.
Oh my gosh.
I have all these little weird synchronicity connections with things, but
Yeah.
I mean, Horse Tech will never steer you wrong, and they're there with integrity. Where some of the other companies out there, I would say to you, they're not. But anyway, you might want to consider asking them for a sample and just seeing, how that goes with your horse.
Okay.
Yeah, call Laura and tell her I sent you, okay? And the samples are free, and they're usually about enough for a month.
Oh.
Nice.
Yeah. All right, let me get back to this. See, I told you I get off track. It's okay though, because really I'm here to help, spread knowledge, to help people to help their horses, and to get people to think in a different way outside the box.
Exactly.
Because I get so many people that have the white coat syndrome, as I call it, that you can only do things with drugs. Well, no, that's not true. You can do it with, nutrition, with homeopathy, with, the no-sodes and prevention and everything too. But anyway, getting back to the foals too that weren't vaccinated and coming on, all the homeopathic remedies can work alongside the no-sodes as well, but you don't usually do them at the same time. For example, like with pigeon fever, I don't know if you guys have seen that, but they will blow up this huge abscess on their chest. That's why they named it pigeon fever. They get it other places too. And when we start treating them with the no-sodes, because if you treat with antibiotics, you can push it in and become like a bastard strangles, and the horse can die from that. But at some point, sometimes like the pus is not coming out fast enough, then you would say, okay, let's switch over to like a pulsatilla or a silica so we can get some of that out. That's where you would work hand in hand with the no-sode. Let's see here. Okay. So there's also ways that we